So today we are looking at the Ubuntu Cinnamon 24.04.1 LTS version. So let me quickly boot it in the live boot. So this is the latest point update of the Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors, which is 24.04.1 LTS. So this is not a major update, it's just a minor update. And also I'm running it on the VirtualBox, which is a virtualization with a 60 GB of hard disk, 8 GB of RAM, and my CPU is i5 1240p. So the booting process will take like a 2 to 3 minutes usually in the virtual machine. So there will be difference when you run it on the VirtualBox or VMware, and also when you run it on the bare metal. So when you run it on the bare metal, it should be working pretty much smoothly without issues if you have a good hardware specs. But there will be some difference when you run it on the virtualization, because there will be some hiccups and also a bit more RAM and also more CPU consumption, and there will be some minor hiccups here and there. So you just need to understand these basic things. And also this is the latest version available. I already made other Ubuntu flavors and Ubuntu videos of point LTS versions. So that's the notification sound or the system sound from the Ubuntu Cinnamon. So before changing the display settings, I'm going to show you how much of resource it's going to consume. Let's go to administration. Let me open the system monitor. So I didn't touch anything. Everything is in front of you. So I'm going to show you the CPU and RAM consumption as soon as you boot up. So these are all the processes running right now as soon as you boot up. And let's go to the resources. So 1.6 GB, and here is the CPU. So you should be seeing a bit high graph in the beginning, but you need to run at least like a 60 seconds in order to see how much of resources it's going to consume. So I'm going to change the display settings as soon as the 60 seconds of the CPU is completed, because I don't want to touch any of the applications. You should be getting the exact CPU and RAM consumption in the VirtualBox and the VMware. And also my hardware specs are latest. You already know 12 Gen i5 1240p is the 12th generation CPU. And also I have like a 8 GB RAM for the VirtualBox. So I have a good hardware specs here, but it's a virtual machine, so you should be seeing there will be some hiccups here and there. As you can see, the graph of the CPU is pretty much under, it's not under 50%, it's above 50%. So there will be also some difference when you run it on the VMware. I already tried in the VMware. There was some issues it was freezing completely. So the screen was completely going blank, and the mouse pointer only was hovering over the virtual machine, which is VMware. So that's the reason I'm trying in on the VirtualBox. So here is the CPU, here is the RAM. So I'm going to change the display settings and check other features also. So let's go to display settings. Let me change my monitor, which is 1920 x 1080 with a 16:9 ratio. I'm going to click on apply, keep new configuration. Let's close it, and let's check the version of the system monitor. So the latest version is 46.0. I'm going to keep the system monitor in the right side corner throughout the video, so you should be seeing all the changes throughout the video. So let's go to the system information and get some additional information. So let's scroll it down. Let me find the system information. Here is the system information. So operating system, it says has a Ubuntu 24.04.1 LTS. The Cinnamon version is the 6.0.4. So I don't know what's the latest version of the Cinnamon, but here is the version. So the Linux kernel you get is a 6.8.0-41, which is same in Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors. And I'm going to show you the latest Linux kernel available in the official website. So I'm going to close everything. So let's go to the internet browser, Firefox. So you should be getting the latest version of the Firefox, which is 129.0.2, which is same in every Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors. So about the applications, you should be seeing same versions of applications in every Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors, and also the kernel version. So the browser will take like a 15 seconds in the virtual machines. So here is our browser. So the user experience in the virtual box, so there is some minimum hiccups here and there, so it's not a major but it's working. So there is a hiccups as you can see, and also the CPU graph. So it will be bit better on the bare metal. So let me change it to this size, and let's go to the about support. Let me type in about support and hit enter to give distro information and browser information. So I already mentioned the version you get is 129.0.2. Here is build ID, distribution ID, which is canonical, the Linux kernel 6.8.0. So let me show you the latest version of the Linux kernel available. Hit enter. The first link will be the official website, which is kernel.org. Keep an eye on the CPU and RAM throughout the video. You should get an idea whether to use this version or not. So the mainline version is 6.11 RC6, which is release candidate, but the stable version is 6.10.7, which is released on August 29th. We are getting the Linux kernel is 6.8. So that's the difference of a Linux kernel available and you are using. So here is the long-term version also. So you got all the information. You can go to the releases and get additional information. So let's go through all the other information. Let me scroll it down. Here you should be seeing 7.8 GB of RAM, 3.7 GB of disk space. So here is some of the additional browser information. If you consider that as important, you can pause the video and read everything. So here is some other information. I'm just going to read the important information, and other things I'm just going to skip it because I don't want to make a video a bit lengthy here. So the window protocol you get is a X11, desktop environment is Cinnamon. So even if you change the other sessions like a X11 to Wayland or Cinnamon, other things, you should be having same issues of a CPU because there will be some issues in the virtual machines. So when you try it on the bare metal, it should be a bit smoother also if you have the hardware specs in order to run this Ubuntu. So in order to run the Ubuntu Cinnamon or Ubuntu Flavor or Ubuntu Linux, I'm going to say exact hardware specs. There is no system requirements mentioned anywhere, but I'm going to mention it. So you need to have like a 4 GB of RAM in order to run all the Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors, or even more will be better. And about the CPU, you need to have like a 2 GHz dual core processor or more will be better. And about the hard disk, you need to have like a 50 to 60 GB of hard disk in order to run almost every type of Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors. You can also run like a almost 60 to 70% of every Linux distros available on the Linux market if you have this much of hardware specs. And about the monitor, you need to have like a 1366 into 768 because it's 2024. You need to at least have that type of monitor. And also most of the users should be having like a 1920 into 1080 monitors nowadays. So I don't think the monitor will be some issues. But in order to run all those Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors and also like a 60 to 70% of Linux distros, you need to have this much of hardware specs. And here are some of the additional information. Just pause the video if you consider anything is important here, and you should be getting all the information. So I'm going to just open some important official website and also downloading process and the release notes and all those things. So give it a minute. I'm going to put all those URLs here. So here you can see I opened all the official websites and all the important websites. So in order to download the Ubuntu Cinnamon, just click in or type in like a Ubuntu Cinnamon in the browser or else in the search engine. You should be getting the first link, which is ubuntucinnamon.org, which is this website. So this is the official website of Ubuntu Cinnamon. So if you don't know anything about the Ubuntu Cinnamon, you can read everything from here, or else you can just go to the official website. And also you can see when I'm scrolling, there is like a hiccups throughout the scrolling. So it will be the issue in all the virtual machines. So in order to run all the smooth experience, you need to try it in the bare metal. But in some cases, most of the virtual machines can run good, but the Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors has some issues in the virtual machines in my PC. I tried every Linux videos, but everything was working fine, but the Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors has issues. So I'm just going to make a video like that. So there will be no issues when you try it on the live boot or in the virtual in the bare metal. So that was the information. In order to go to the Cinnamon 24.04.1 version, you just need to click on the blog, and you should be seeing the blog here, and you should be seeing all the information here of the Ubuntu Cinnamon 24.04.1 LTS Noble Numbat. So there is no major changes, but you should be having some information here. So here is the point release has been released, is now available to download. If you're already on Ubuntu Cinnamon 24.04, there is nothing you need to do other than keep your systems up to date. If you're installing Ubuntu Cinnamon fresh and new, the 24.04.1 image will contain the latest updates ready to go. You can find via our website or the Ubuntu CD image mirror. So I'm going to click on it. So there are no new features with the point releases. Point releases bring the latest bug fixes and stability, which I already mentioned in the beginning. It's just a minor update. It's not a major update. So the latest installation will come with it. So that's it. And about the images or the ISO file, you can go to the URL, or you can just click on ubuntu.com and search for the Ubuntu Cinnamon 24.04.1, and you should be getting the ISO file directly there. So this is the ISO file, which is around 4.9 GB, and it's AMD 64, and I think that's it. So the ISO file is 4.9 GB. And here is the other information of the Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So if you don't know anything about 24 of Ubuntu, here is complete information. So it is supported until 5 years, 2029. So Ubuntu is supported until that many years, but Ubuntu Cinnamon should be till 2027. I really don't know, but there will be some numbers. But when you go to the blog, you should be also seeing the information of 24.04, and here they will be provided the support for years. So it says supported for 3 years, so it's 2027 will be the end of support, but the Ubuntu you should be getting until 2029. So about the point release of the Ubuntu, you should be seeing the summary. I'm going to show you that. So here is the summary of 24.04.1. So you should be getting all the important things, bug fixes and all those things of the Ubuntu. So I'm going to show you right here. So let it load. So all the website loaded pretty much instantly, but the Ubuntu website is taking a bit time. So here is the 24.04.1 of Ubuntu, which is installation bug fixes. When you scroll down, you should be seeing all the bug fixes like upgrade bug fixes and also desktop fixes. So you should be getting all the information here, server and cloud related fixes. So there are a lot of things here, so you just need to go to the links and get all the information. So I think I pretty much covered everything from the websites. So I'm going to click on the download. So you just need to click on the download here, and you should be downloading the ISO file, or else you can go directly to the ubuntu.com, click on downloads, and here are the downloads recommended 24.04.1. Click on the downloads. Other versions are right here. So this is the downloading process of the Ubuntu Cinnamon. So I got all the information from the browser, so I'm just going to close it. Let me open the terminal, and I'm going to type in some commands to get some additional information like audio information, graphics and all the other information, because some of the viewers need to see all the information. So before that, let's check the version. Here is the terminal version. And also let me change it terminal color so you can see properly. Let's go to the colors. Let's click on GNOME. So I don't think this is the way. Let me uncheck it. So here is the colors. So I'm going to type in NeoFetch. So here is the information like Ubuntu Cinnamon 24.04.1 LTS. So it's a LTS 3 years 2027 is the end date. So VirtualBox, kernel version which I already mentioned, uptime it's almost 15 minutes, packages 2104 dpkg and 9 snap, shell bash version 5.2.21, monitor resolution which I already mentioned, cinnamon version already mentioned. Here are the themes, icons, everything. Here is my CPU. So we got all the information here. So let me type in INXI-SV8. So you should be getting all the information of the distro by typing this command. So let me scroll it up and get all the information. So I'm just going to read important information. I'm not going to go through all those things because it's going to make video lengthy. So host Ubuntu Cinnamon, kernel version already mentioned, 64-bit, compiler GCC version is 13.2.0, Cinnamon version which I already mentioned, GTK version 3.24.41, Muffin version 6.0.1, and the LightDM version is 1.30.0. Distro is Cinnamon of Ubuntu Cinnamon 24.04.1 LTS, and it's based on Ubuntu. And this is machine information which is unnecessary in the video. You can read if you want by pausing the video. Here is the battery information, it's also unnecessary. System RAM, I'm using 8 GB of RAM, available is 7.76 GB, used is 1.7 GB. Here you can see it's 1.9 GB. So here is the CPU information. And when you scroll it down, you should be also seeing the vulnerabilities. And here is the graphics information which is important, so I'm going to go through all those things. VMWGFX version is 2.20.0 and display is X11 which I already showed you in the beginning. Server Xorg version 21.1.11. and what else we have here? The monitor resolutions. So these are all the available monitor resolutions in this system. So EGL version, API EGL version is 1.5 and OpenGL version is 4.5, Mesa version 24.0.9 and LLVM pipe, here is the version. So we got all the information here. So just scroll it down and you should be seeing the audio information right here. So Pipewire version is 1.0.5 and what else we left? ELSA version is right here. And here is the network information, network, Bluetooth, drives, partitions and all those things. So I don't consider it as important right now. So I'm just going to scroll it down for the additional information. So here is the repos and processors and all those things. So I'm going to go through info. So process 238, uptime 16 minutes. And here are the themes, image, systemd version, init systemd version is 255. And compiler GCC version 13.2.0, shell bash version which I already mentioned, and INXI version is 3.3.34. So we got all the important information. So I'm going to type in some commands. INXI. So these are all the same commands as the above, but you get in a short form. So you should be getting same information, but you should be getting in the short form. INXI-b, INXI-G, INXI-F, cat:/etc/issue, it says Ubuntu 24.04.1 LTS. So let's try the final command, htop. So htop is not pre-installed. You can install by copying the command which is sudo apt install htop. So you should be installed. So I'm going to close everything. So we just left with the installation. Let's double click it. I'm going to show you the installation, and also we have left with the desktop features, wallpapers and all those things. So there is literally no changes, but I'm going to show you because I don't want to end with just a short information. I'm going to give all the information. So choose your language. Here is our new installer which looks pretty much awesome. There are plenty of languages available. Choose whatever language you want. I'm choosing the English. Click next. Here are the accessibility in Ubuntu's Cinnamon. If you want to toggle anything, you can toggle here. Typing, pointing and clicking, zoom. So here are all the accessibility. Click next. Select your keyboard layout. You can detect here, you can select your keyboard variant, and also you can type here to test your keyboard. I'm just going to click on next. If you want internet connection, connect to internet connection, or you can do not connect to the internet. So how would you like to install the Ubuntu Cinnamon? If you want interactive installation, you can go with it, or you can go with the automatic installation. I'm choosing the interactive. Click next. So what apps would you like to install to start with? Ubuntu Cinnamon Desktop minimized, and the Cinnamon Desktop a full featured. So I want full, so I'm just going to click next. So installed recommended proprietary software. If you want to install, you can install, or else you can uncheck it. You already know all those things. So click next. So how would you want to install the Ubuntu Cinnamon? So if you want to install it as a single boot, you can go with the erase disk. So this option is basically it's going to delete current operating systems, media files, music, whatever the available things in that drive, it's going to wipe it off, and it's going to install the Ubuntu Cinnamon as a single boot. So that's the information of the erase disk or this option. And the manual partitioning, you need to create a partition and you need to click on that partition, and you can install in that specific partition of Ubuntu Cinnamon. And you should be seeing two operating systems in the boot menu, like a dual boot options. So if you don't know what I'm talking, you just need to watch installation tutorials of the Ubuntu or any other Linux distribution. The installation will be same. So I'm choosing the erase disk. Click on next. Here you need to create an account, which is pretty much same in every Linux distro and also in every other operating system. So what is your name? I'm going to type in 9to5 Linux. So that's the channel name. So I'm just going to keep it. Your username. So I'm going to use the alphabets because you don't need to use the first letter, first character as the alphabet. You just need to use alphabets instead of numericals. So I'm using numerical first here. So that's the reason it's invalid. So now it's working. So if everything is good, you should be seeing a tick mark. So you need to choose the password. I'm typing the password, which is small password, which is 12345. So that's the reason it's showing as a weak password. You need to have a strong password. After clicking on next, you should be seeing the location and also the installation thing. Not the installation thing, the summary of whatever you choose in the previous installation. And the installation may take like 20 to 25 minutes. If you have like a low-end PC, it should be taking that much of time. If you have a high-end PC, it should be very quick. And also it depends whether the ISO file is stable or not. In this case, the ISO file is stable and the latest version. So the installation 99% of the time will be installed without any issues. But if you downloaded the beta version or under development version or the unstable version, the installation may sometimes fail, and also you should be seeing some not responding or like a screen will be frozen. So these are all the rare cases of installation may fail. So that's the reason always go with the stable version if you're a normal user. But if you're a distro hopper or a Linux tester, you already know what to download and how to test. So I don't need to mention anything here. So let's check some desktop features. So everything is same, so there is nothing change. So they already said in the official website, so there is no change. So you should be getting the support till 2027. I don't know what month, but you should be seeing the updates until 2027, which is 2027. So let's check some desktop backgrounds, and we're going to do a stress test to see this distro will handle day-to-day tasks by opening like 4 or 5 applications at once. So here are all the available things like wallpapers. You can customize according to your wish. So I'm going to choose the default wallpaper. So here is the settings. Here is the images. You can do customizations. So it's completely frozen right now. So it's taking a bit of time. Now it's working. So you can customize anything. So I'm just going to keep the wallpaper like that. And I'm going to do a stress test. Before that, I'm going to show what applications you get pre-installed. So as you can see, these are all the applications which comes pre-installed. So most of them are from the Cinnamon desktop environment, other are from the Ubuntu. So you don't get any bloatware or anything other than you should be getting from the Cinnamon desktop environment and others from the Ubuntu, which is like an installer and other things. So you basically don't get any bloatware or anything other than Cinnamon desktop environment applications. So I'm going to open a bunch of applications. So in order to do a stress test, you need to have like a GIMP, Blender, Krita, Inkscape. So we need to have like a bit of resource consuming applications to see whether the distro will handle day-to-day task, because a normal user will be opening like a 4 or 5 applications when he will be using a PC or the distro. So if it crashes, then it's better to skip this part. Most of the Ubuntu doesn't crash, only the Ubuntu Kylin or the Ubuntu Unity. So they have like a, most of the time I tried had the like a crashing, not responding, this type of issues, but other Ubuntu flavors never had an issue. So I'm going to do a stress test now by opening applications. Let me even open the browser. So we need to open like a 5 to 6 applications, which consumes a bit of resources. So let me even open the LibreOffice. So for a normal user, it's pretty much good because you get all the office work like a LibreOffice, and also Thunderbird, which is email client, and also you should be getting media players. You can run this Linux distro on your PC. If you're a normal user, you can try this Linux distro. And also Cinnamon Mac desktop have the good desktop environments. So for a Windows user, you can easily customize. So it will be not bit hard for you, but you can even try the XFCE with Ubuntu. That's also a good Ubuntu flavor. So if you want complete lightweight, you can go with the Ubuntu. So there are like a good Ubuntu flavors you can try on your own. So if you want KDE Plasma, you can go with Kubuntu. So I already made a lot of Ubuntu flavors and Ubuntu videos. So if you want to check that out, you can check it out in my channel, or else you can check it out in other channels. Always try it in the live boot, and if you're satisfied, then go with the installation. Don't blindly first install on the bare metal. If you're already using the Linux distro, if it's stably running, so it's better to wait and get all the information, do research, and install it. Don't just go with the fancy things. Ubuntu is already a well-known Linux distro, or Ubuntu Cinnamon is well-known Linux distro, so you can try it on your own. If you already have the end of support, then you can choose it. So if you have a good end of support, if you have like a 3-4 years, and also if you have the stable Linux distro running, don't try to ruin it by just new releases. It's better to keep it. If you have like a PC which is not usable, then go install this type of Linux distros which can bring that PC to life. So you can try these Linux distributions. So after opening a bunch of applications, here are all the applications. Let's check the system monitor and see how much of resource it's consuming. So the RAM is almost 2.9 GB, cache is like a 6 GB, CPU pretty much like under 50%, and these are all the process. So there is a minor hiccup in the VirtualBox. You should be seeing no hiccups, and you should be seeing a smooth experience in the bare metal if you have the good hardware specs. So I'm just going to switch the applications. So there is no lag or any delay, so everything is opening instantly. So that's a good work in my point of view. I don't know how it performs on your PC. You need to try it on your own. So about the information, Nemo you get 6.0.2. You can go to edit, preference, you can customize. So you already know what to do about the customization, so I don't want to go through all those things and make a video lengthy. So here are the themes. You can change the mouse pointer, you can change the applications color, you can change the icons, and also the menu desktop. So you can customize all those things. You can add and remove, you can change the settings, you can use the dark mode or the light mode according to your wish. So again, these are all the customization things. So about the GIMP, you should be getting the 2.10.36. I think that's the latest version. And here is the themes which I already showed. The browser which I already showed, the version 129.0.2. About the rhythm box, you get the 3.4.7. Let me close it. About the LibreOffice, you should be getting 24.2.5.2, which is similar in which is same in every Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors, which I already mentioned in the beginning. you should be seeing same application versions and also the kernel version, so there will be no changes. And about the Thunderbird, you should be getting the Nebula. Let's see. So here you can see it's a Nebula. So you get the latest application, latest kernel and latest point update. So if you want to try it, you can try it, and it's clearly up to you to judge whether to use this or not. You can judge on your own, so I'm not going to say anything here. I just showed how it performs on my VirtualBox and on my PC. So here are all the process at the end of the video. So I showed every important information, so I'm just going to close everything. So about the control center, so backgrounds, themes, which I already showed, and extensions. Here are the extensions you can manage, you can download. And what about the notifications? Let me show you the notifications. So these are my notifications. So I kept everything as default, so there is nothing changed here. About the startup applications, you can add, you can remove, you can do whatever you want. You already know the Cinnamon desktop environment, so it will be a waste of time to show some other information. So we pretty much got all the information. I'm going to show you the logout screen and I'm going to end the video. Let's log out. So throughout there was minor hiccups here and there, and CPU was pretty much unstable. You already know about the virtual machines, you don't need to say anything here. So it will be performing way better in the bare metal if you want to try it. I already said what you need for the in order to run Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors. You need like a 4 GB of RAM. About the processor, 2 GHz dual core processor or more. About the hard disk, 40-50 GB will be good. So that was the hardware specs, and here is other sessions like a Wayland, software rendering. You can choose whatever you want. It's going to be having same problems like a bit of hiccups here and there and some high CPU. So the RAM will be a bit lesser when you install it on the bare metal, so there will be some difference, and also smooth experience in the PC if you have the good hardware specs. So that was the video of the Ubuntu Cinnamon, and also I'm going to post another video because I'll be posting 2 videos. So if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. Other than that, thanks for watching. Peace out.